A two-time Olympic bronze medalist speaks to NTD about his experience in Beijing's Winter Games, what it was like for him to go through Beijing's surveillance system, and how he mustered up the courage to talk about the regime's organ harvesting at a press conference, with Chinese police standing close by. Rubinus is from Latvia, a country in northeastern Europe. He won his country's first ever Olympic medal and is now a coach for the nation's men's luge team. But he's also a human rights activist and has been vocal about Beijing's rights abuses for years. So for Rubinus, he was torn about whether he should go to the Winter Games in the first place.
When I heard that Olympic Games will be held in China, it made me quite sad to hear it. I knew that at one point I will face that moment that I have to decide whether I go or not, and what should I do with all of that.
But when the time came,
I had a feeling that I have to just go through step by step and see how the things unfold, and that would be my opportunity to tell the truth and tell my feelings to more people.
The next challenge was getting a visa. He wasn't sure if China would grant him one, given his activism. Rubinus has for years been participating in various events calling out Beijing for its abuses. In 2006, he went on a hunger strike before the Chinese embassy in Latvia to protest Beijing's organ harvesting. Despite his past actions, the visa application went smoothly. Rubinus thinks Chinese officials let him in to keep a low profile. He is the national team's coach and also part of the Latvian Olympic Committee. Denying him a visa would attract negative publicity for Beijing. When asked if he was afraid to go to China,
if I say absolutely not, that would probably not be true.
He knows the scale of Beijing's rights abuses and various torture methods that dissidents or religious believers have endured.
But I knew that since I've been granted that visa to go there, that the next step is for me to go and have my personal experience and ability to see what really going on in China.
Rubinus was well prepared for Beijing's surveillance.
I didn't bring any of my personal electronics to China. I didn't use even my credit cards or anything, just not to have some kind of trace of it in China.
He cleaned up an old phone and the contacts in it, taking that with him instead. Still, one thing struck him when he entered the Olympic Village, where athletes and coaches stayed.
I had my face mask on and the hat on, and when I entered the gate, on a screen appeared my name, my face, and all the data about me.
He pointed out that despite only showing his eyes, the machine was still able to recognize him.
That felt quite weird for me, that even not seeing you, they know who you are.
Inside the village, Rubinus says cameras are everywhere, and even at food stations, police officers were present.
You are under surveillance all day long. I don't know if there were some hidden cameras in our rooms still or whatever, but I never felt that I was easy alone with myself there.
Surveillance aside, human rights groups warned athletes to not talk about human rights issues while in China.
We know the human rights record and the allowance of freedom of expression in China. So there's really not much protection that we believe that's going to be afforded to athletes.
Athletes were advised to use their voice when they get home, but Rubinus thought otherwise. Here's what he said during a press conference in Beijing.
My understanding that this most inhumane thing that the Chinese Communist Party is still doing is that forced organ harvesting from good, kind-hearted people, from Chinese people who are just the prisoners of conscience.
Chinese police were standing about 10 feet away.
At that moment, I was not afraid at all, because I felt it's my my obligation, and it's really important for people from free countries and people who understand what's really going on in China to speak out.
He said inside or outside China, that fact doesn't change.
When you take a strong stance, even many party members know that what was done with Falun Gong and human organ harvesting, it's a wrong thing. And if they can hear it in China, it's just good for them.
For years, China's organ transplant industry has been finding organs at speeds unimaginable in the West. In some cases, hospitals have been able to find 4 matching hearts in 10 days, or 2 livers in just 24 hours. In 2018, an international tribunal in London gave its final judgment on allegations of forced organ harvesting. The tribunal members are renowned medical and legal experts.
It is beyond doubt that forced harvesting of organs happened on a substantial scale and by state-organized or approved organizations and individuals.
The tribunal says main organ supplies come from Falun Gong practitioners and Uyghurs, member of an ethnic group. U.S. lawmakers also condemn Beijing's forced organ harvesting practice.
This is a crime against humanity.
As for Rubinus, he says after he spoke out about the forced organ harvesting,
the Chinese embassy tried to silence me through our Latvian Olympic Committee.
The Chinese embassy in Latvia invited the committee's president to a meeting, urging him to give Rubinus a message to behave.
But I was really happy to hear that from President that his response was that his understanding is that everybody from our team is allowed to speak about his opinions.
The president also told Rubinus that they have full rights to be vocal on issues that are important to them.